Today, you and I are going to be talking about Balaam, this famous diviner prophet. Now, the main account of Balaam in the Bible is recorded in Numbers 22 to 24. But then his alternate curse Israel plan and his death are recorded in Numbers 31 during Israel's war with Midian. Now, throughout the Bible, Balaam's life and death are used as an example of God's faithfulness to Israel and also as a cautionary tale. But when we read Balaam's story today, it's easy to get confused. There are a few puzzling elements of the account. Consider these questions. Why would Balak send for Balaam in the first place? Surely the Moabites and Midianites had their own diviners and prophets, so why send for Balaam who lived far away? Also, why would the angel of the Lord seek to kill Balaam after God had just given him permission to go back with the king's delegation? And what's the point of the donkey speaking to Balaam at all? Why would God not just allow Balaam to see the angel of the Lord in the first place? Now, there are different ideas about the answers to these questions, but let's explore some of them. So in terms of why Balak would send for Balaam in the first place, there's some really cool research by Victor Horowitz that was published in the 90s having to do with the Hebrew phrase that's often translated into English, fee for divination. As in, on their way to meet with Balaam, the king's delegation took with them the fee for divination. Apparently, this phrase is a bit of a tricky one. It is literally translated not taking with them the fee for divination, but taking divination in their hands. Horowitz compares this to ancient divination literature coming out of Mari. Turns out there was a practice of diviners creating clay models of their sacrificed animal entrails that they were using for divination. Similar to the liver models that seem to have been used for teaching divination in Babylon and other cultures, but these models were sacrifice specific and were used like a photograph, preserving the omens so that other diviners could check the results. They could offer a second opinion, or it could be sent to a more senior diviner or prophet. So then if this is what the delegation carried to Balaam, literally a divination in their hands, this would represent Balak wanting a second or more experienced opinion from Balaam, a kind of, here's the situation. Can you come fix it for me? I need these people cursed. Now, moving on to why the angel of the Lord would attack Balaam after giving him permission to go, there's a few theories. There's a few biblical cases that are actually similar to this. Remember Jacob being attacked by the mysterious man on the eve of his re-entry into the promised land? Or what about Moses being attacked by God on his way back to Egypt? In both of these cases, the people are prompted to go on their journey, are attacked, and then there's a change in the person being attacked. Jacob's character is drawn out of him and his name is changed to Israel. Character change. With Moses, there's probably a few things going on, but for sure there is a status change. His son is now circumcised, a requirement to be counted among the Israelites. So we have a character change and a status change. For Balaam being attacked then, perhaps God was giving him the opportunity to change. God knew that the intention of Balaam's heart was to curse Israel. Even though he may not have been able to formally do it, we're told in Numbers 31 that Balaam later advised Balak on how to get the Israelites to break their covenant with God, leaving them vulnerable to attack, a curse of a different, more insidious sort. This opportunity for change that God gives Balaam is obviously mediated by his donkey. But why? A few thoughts here. It's possible that God was using the relationship between Balaam and his donkey to represent the relationship between Balaam and Israel. Here's what I mean. Just as the donkey was following God's direction by leaving the path, so Israel was following God's direction through the land of Moab. And as God miraculously allowed the donkey to speak, so he was working miracles in Israel. As Balaam beat his donkey 3 times and wanted to kill it with the sword, so Balaam would attempt to curse Israel 3 times and ultimately teach the Moabites how to get Israel killed. Though in a gruesome twist, it would be Balaam himself who would be killed with an Israelite sword. I think that the text of Numbers shows us how God gave Balaam a chance to change. God was going to bless Israel regardless. Would Balaam get on board? Unfortunately, Balaam did not change. By his 3rd blessing of Israel, Balaam is overcome and prophesies about Israel's future. Because of the hardness of his own heart, his refusal to change, Balaam has become like his donkey an animal used as a mouthpiece, and God's promise to Abraham has been realized. Those who curse Israel will be cursed.
Now, this is really something, because when you begin to understand that Balaam was killed by the Israelite sword, you understand that God does this with all of us. All of us are confronted by the reality of Jesus Christ. And the question is, will we take him and let him change us?
Yeah.
Or will we just not take him?
Yeah. How are we going to respond to the communication of God?
And that answers the question, how can God do his will even when people don't follow him? So that's very interesting. There's a whole discussion here. Seminary time. Anyway, very good.
Thank you so much for watching. We want to keep producing high-quality biblical content, but we can't do it without your support. If you feel called to support us, please click the link in the description under Donate. Your support really means a lot to us.